This is even better than we thought, as these post-draft interviews are coming out from Kent Hughes, Nick Bobroff, and some of the quotes that they had on Ivan Demidov are absolutely shocking and amazing. We have to dive into that. Plus, Michael Hage, and where Kent Hughes reveals what he believes Michael Hage could be at the NHL level. And finally, the Habs draft the son of an all-time great in Aatos Koivu, and he has maybe more potential than we think, all coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. And we're going to start, Jesse, with Aatos. Now, Aatos Koivu, he's a guy we have been hoping for. He went a little bit above his projected draft position as he went at number 70 to Montreal, but as Arpen said, it's absolutely perfect. And as Briant Emmerich said, Aatos Koivu says he didn't hear his name called initially while watching the draft on TV, but when his mom started jumping up and down, he realized he was taken by the Habs. Dad Saku then joined in, jumping for joy. To Jesse Aatos, he is an amazing guy. He's about 6'1". He's a little slight at about 170, but he's grown a lot over the past year. Gained about 15-20 pounds, I believe, over the past while. He played 4 games in the Liga. What just a heartwarming pick. It feels like Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton were out there just making every pick that Habs fans wanted, and they just continue from the heat from night one.
Absolutely, right. And we had talked on the pod, right, about this, the connections with Koivu and Montreal obviously are undeniable. The character is there, the pedigree is there. And even though he's a little bit smaller, I believe that he's a competitor like his father. So I believe in him to kind of get that, that size a little bit more, to win those puck battles a little bit more. But at the same time, there is some skill with this player for sure. He has some good, defensive play. He might need to work a little bit on his 5v5, but I mean, we can always use help on our power play, which is where he excels. So again, obviously there's a high upside here with all of this, and it's really interesting to see how he'll develop.
One thing I love with Aatos Koivu is when you look at the picks like this, you look at the Florian Xhekaj pick, it really feels like Montreal is not afraid to go not off the board, but to kind of reach a little bit on guys that they kind of feel they have an in with the organization, like a guy that will be comfortable and truly wants to play for the Montreal Canadiens. We saw it with Demidov, who is bigger a Hab fan than I think any of us thought. We'll get into that a bit later. We saw it with Michael Hage, and now we're also seeing it with Aatos. We saw it with Florian Xhekaj. They couldn't quite snag Cole Hudson, who ended up going to the Capitals, but Jesse, that's one thing too, that only just continues to build up the culture, and it builds up a lot of people who are seeing, wow, the Montreal Canadiens really seem to treat their players right.
Absolutely. I think that that's so important, just overall Kent is just getting that reputation through the league. And I think that that matters a lot to players.
Yeah, 100%. It's unbelievable stuff from Aatos. But there's other guys, Jesse, and I wanted to talk a bit about Michael Hage again. So Kent Hughes, of course, in his post-draft presser, he was asked a ton of questions. And we all know now the story about Michael Hage, how his father tragically passed away, but Michael Hage grew up as a Habs fan, and he wanted to play for the Montreal Canadiens. He's desperate. He's a hard worker. The story is amazing. And Kent Hughes, when asked, hey, do you think he has the talent to be a top 6 player? He's like, yeah, absolutely. We think he has the talent to be a top 6 player, Jesse. And the stats back that up again. 75 points, 54 games. He was 4th in scoring in the USHL. He's 6'1". He's a smooth center. And when you see Kent Hughes talk about him, I think the way the Habs were talking about him almost sold me on holy crap, how did he fall to 21? And I think now, when we said, during the draft, we were hoping for Yzerman and stuff, but to me, it now seems like he was that guy. He was that target. They had some information that he wouldn't be gone by then. And again, targeting that guy who is a Habs fan, but not only that, to see the potential they see in that late first round pick, a 21st overall pick, Jesse, where you truly see him as a future potential top 6 guy. I mean, again, there's a reason Scott Wheeler gave the Habs a good grade, and it's kind of amazing to see that Kent Hughes said, the plan that we had, the 2 guys we wanted, everything kind of fell into our lap.
Absolutely. Well, I did call yesterday on our live stream that the Habs would be looking for him at 21st overall, right? And I think a lot of Habs fans agree that he is absolutely a great fit. The Habs were getting who they wanted just all the way around, yesterday. That's what's so incredible about this. Obviously, we know that top 6 potential, right? But then just the character as well. I just think it's such an amazing, combination. He's also getting a lot of praise on being extremely competitive and also, but so consistent as well, right? So it's just, what is there not to like? He speaks French. He grew up a Habs fan. He has family from the area here. this just seems to be written in the stars and is a very impressive young man.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like written in the stars for this guy to be a Montreal Canadian. And as he said, he's going to work his butt off to make that team. And he has the potential to do it. He has the work ethic to do it. He has everything on his side, and really hope the best for him. It was absolutely amazing. The final thing, Jesse, we got to talk a bit more about Demidov, and I have a funny feeling we'll be talking even more over the coming days and weeks and months and hopefully years with Ivan Demidov. And Nick Bobrov, of course, was asked a lot of questions about Demidov. Now, Bobrov got to know Demidov very well. Of course, he actually got to visit Demidov over in Russia. Bobrov speaks Russian, right? So it makes a lot of sense. And here's just some of the stuff he had to say. Because they asked him if he was as impressive, speaking in Russian versus speaking English, all this stuff. He said he's impressive if he were speaking any language. He exudes a very healthy confidence that has a lot of appreciation, empathy, and respect for other people. Once again, fitting kind of what we've heard about Slav, what we heard about Reinbacher, this exact same thing. He went on to say that his ceiling is very, very high. He's been compared to Kucherov, Kaprizov. His ceiling is as high as some of the best players in the league, and he expects nothing less than that from himself. Jesse, we even heard Demidov himself tossing that name Jack Hughes and Kirill Kaprizov as a mix of who he is, but he's not like too cocky. And that's one thing too. Like Kent said in his thing, he's not arrogant, he's confident. There's a big difference. And he said everything is amazing with Demidov. This is way better than I could have possibly thought. I mean, I think there were a lot of assumptions for one reason or another about Demidov's personality, but the more I'm learning about this guy, I am just utterly thrilled. I feel like Bobrov said, Jesse, it's the steal of the draft.
Absolutely. The smile says it all. There's a lot of rumors we're hearing that Celine was heavily involved in who they were going to pick 5th overall.
Absolutely.
So a great selection. No, I kid. But honestly, and as I said yesterday on the pod, I believe for the Montreal Canadiens that Ivan Demidov was their number one pick of who they would go for, even if Cayden, Lindstrom, other players were available. Kent Hughes did confirm that as well, right? And we're seeing why. We're seeing the draft year comparisons to some greats, even Mario Lemieux, right? It's absolutely unreal. We're looking at a star probability on a lot of sites as being 99%. But Josh, one of the most things that's so kind of encouraging is, again, that smile, that personality, kind of happy-go-lucky. You see, like, getting along with Slav, right? Where it's like being confident but not being cocky. There's a difference. But you can tell there's also that gamer there, that competitor there as well, which I think is so huge for winning, right? And what Ivan Demidov says is that he actually studied Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
And to kind of learn of that killer instinct, right? To kind of score those game-winning goals, to be that difference maker. So this is the type of player that Ivan Demidov wants to be. And for me, hearing these words is incredibly encouraging.
That Mamba mentality, that killer instinct Kobe had is one of the things that made him one of the greatest players ever, right? Is that drive to never settle for anything. There's a reason Kobe was in the gym at 4 a.m. when his teammates were just going to sleep. Like that kind of mentality. And for Demidov to say, he's like, I feel like I'm like him, right? I feel like I have that mentality. And for him, also to learn English in a year and a half, and he's speaking here, he's also just said he's ready to learn French. But the admiration and appreciation he has for the Montreal Canadiens, that he uses them when he's playing NHL. He used to use an NHL 07. Marty St. Louis and Vinny the Cavalier said to shake their hands is an absolute pleasure, right? So, I mean, look, I know it's like some PR stuff, but it genuinely, most of it feels like it's coming from the heart, and you can tell it. He wants to be a Hab. The Habs have scouted him all year. They've treated him right, sent people over to meet with him in person, Jesse. Unbelievable stuff. What do you guys think about Ivan Demidov? And these quotes that are coming out recently from him, whether it's from Bobrov, from Hughes, from Ivan himself, everything is aligning for the Habs. According to Scott Wheeler, Jesse, I believe he had the Habs as having the best first round simply because of the talent they got relative to draft position. So insane stuff, steal of the draft, and I cannot wait to see what's next. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for tuning in every single day for all your latest Habs news. I'm Josh Gosse for my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.